I appreciate your company this afternoon. First in the news, government has condemned the military coup in Guinea-Bissau, branding it as direct assault on democracy and a reckless bid to overturn the will of the people just days after the country conducted what was described as peaceful election on November 23. A group of military officers took control following gunfire in the capital, Bissau, and arrested President Umaru Sissoco Embalo. The European Union is also warning of an imminent risk to Ghana's democracy owing to the rising cases of violent extremism in the Sahel and coup d'etats in the West African sub-region. And head of our diplomatic and foreign affairs desk, Blessed Suga, joins us with details on this. Blessed, first, let's talk about what the Ghanaian government has been saying about this particular coup.
Clearly not happy about what has happened there in Guinea. You see it off the coast, West Africa, so it's obviously of concern to us here in Ghana as well, because there are just a few countries in between. You may say it's far away, but there's a spillover effect if you're looking at it, the broad picture now of Guinea-Bissau now joining the likes of Mali, Niger, and of course Burkina Faso in that pack of countries that will now have military leadership in their country. Now, what happened yesterday is that President Embalo has now been arrested by a group of military officers. There's a leader of that group, Brigadier General Dennis Inkaha, who we understand is the one leading or fronting this whole movement. They were from the Presidency Brigade, and they're the ones behind this coup now. Now, after the arrest, it's obvious that the elections may no longer be necessary because the process was truncated. The results that we were all awaiting for has also been truncated. So even if you go ahead to declare, all the government officials and the president himself, they are under detention as we speak. The word being used by the military now is that they are in total control, unquote, from Guinea, and that's what we've been monitoring ever since. So that's the bigger concern.
Right.
Beyond that as well, there's a joint statement that we're learning of now, being released by the African Union, the group of eminent, West African leaders, and the election observer mission in Guinea-Bissau, who are all asking Guineans to remain calm, first of all. And beyond remaining calm, the concern now is that we've made gains in building democracy across West Africa. But looking at what's happening now is going to have, obviously, a spillover effect on Mali and the entire region, a reason for which, of course, they are condemning, just as the Ghanaian government has.
It's interesting. We're just going to the elections. You've actually just touched on it. But for Guinea-Bissau, for a country populated just about 20 million or a little over that, 2 million, sorry, over that. But they're quite noted for how many coups so far?
So many coups. In fact, we've lost count of the number, actually. But I'll just get that for you later. But I mean, looking at what's happening, many and some experts say the signs were on the wall, the writings were on the wall, because there was a development between ECOWAS and President Embalo himself. You recall that a couple of weeks back, or this was way before the election itself, there was a deployment of a pre-team to engage the government and to do some considerations and consultations on what the process was leading into the elections. Apparently, President Embalo expelled this team of observers who were there to engage on some constitutional changes that were taking place in Guinea-Bissau ahead of the election. So it's been a major concern, and people have said that, well, if you're an expert, after he expelled, and of course, he gave the indication in the posture that it was going to be the same script, just as we've seen in Mali, Burkina Faso, and others, it was going to be an election that would obviously go in his favor. A reason for which many are saying that what you see on the screens now, with all these military rulers declaring total control, was bound to happen, and that's what we've seen in the
Thank you, Blessed. We look forward to engaging on this more, especially because of the size of that country and how they're becoming quite notorious for coups. Well, security analyst Richard Kumado joins us with more on this. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. What does this really mean? Why must Ghana be concerned about this coup in Guinea-Bissau?
We are concerned because, one, President Mahama believes in democracy. He believes in political democracy. And if you look at his inauguration and the total number of people who came to Africa, or to Ghana particularly, he's seen as a beacon of democracy, and he will want to live through it, project himself and project Ghana as a beacon of democracy, and we want all the West African nations to uphold such. Knowing very well that within the West Africa zone, one of the difficulties we had is coup d'etat. And it's also important to say that what you've seen in Guinea-Bissau is not coup d'etat, it's military takeover. And when my brother Blazer was reading, he left out Gabon and Guinea. They had the same issue. military takeover. Then Niger also have a military takeover. So there are distinct differences between military takeover and coup d'etat. And Guinea-Bissau in particular, you hit it on the nail because recently, just last year or 2 years ago, they had an attempted coup d'etat, and the signs of a coup d'etat or the signs and the elements of a military takeover was boldly written on the wall. And why they did not do something about it, I cannot fathom it. So that is where we are.
What genuinely could they have done, especially because when they said the Supreme Court over there had ruled for the president to have another term, the military believes that it shouldn't be so. The military as well believes that Guinea-Bissau has become a hotspot for drug trafficking. All of this put together, again, I wonder, Ghana is quite free. Our democracy looks quite still blooming and all. But does it look like the country can heal and revive, especially with the things that the military is saying is the reason why they've taken over?
If you look at one of the genesis of coup d'etat and the underlying factor is bad governance and bad political leadership. And we've always been saying that coup d'etat in particular is not only committed by military officers. Those in blue and black jackets, as politicians, also have the tendency of committing coup d'etat. And we've also established, which is a non-fact, that coup d'etats are not things you wish away or you wish for. And to the extent that the environment for coup d'etat is ripe and the motivation for those who are determined to commit a coup d'etat higher than the elements that want to stop it, it may happen anywhere, any day, across any part of the world. And we've seen it across the group. Bad political leadership, bad governance is what has led them to where they are. They might want to reassess their democratic principles again and the pillars that hold their political governance. In the Francophone countries in West Africa predominantly, many years ago, when the English-speaking countries were weighing themselves out of their colonial masters and setting up the structures, they were labored. And history has shown that they are now paying the price and they are now waking up to reality. They must wake up and catch up as quickly as possible. But if they keep on running it like the way they do, they are going to have a lot of trouble, particularly when in West Africa predominantly, apart from terrorism, coup d'etat is the next threat all countries face. And we have to watch against it and should not allow our premises, political premises, to be jammed up in a manner such that military will take over or there will be a coup d'etat against the constitution.
Right. What is this? Why are they quite notorious for taking even those in authority, especially when there's a military takeover? Why are they usually very notorious in, taking those in authority, including the president?
That is a political leadership. In Ghana, the president is the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces. That particular phrase is that the president does everything. The president holds everything. The president's opinion supersedes everybody. The decision of the president is huge and is big. In fact, the country belongs to the president. And the president is the one who executes the constitution. Once in a while, you go to court and you go for interpretation, or you want the court to intervene, or you go to parliament in one way or the other. But the power of executive president is so huge. And so when we say he's the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, we are not just saying that he has control over the Ghana Armed Forces, but the state as a whole. He is the head of the state. And so because of that power, when they take over, they have to exercise control, and they must enforce reform, and they must make sure that everybody obeys them, that they are the one in charge, and their instructions have to be pushed through. And that is why they have to take away whoever is there that will be a standing block for them to establish themselves. And once that is done, if you look at the history in Gabon and Guinea, they either put them to court or they let them go. Okay. And that is what we have seen in Mali and Burkina Faso and Niger. So it's a normal phenomenon across the group. And these are things they need to watch carefully, and they must avoid it.
Thank you so much, Mr. Richard Kumado, as a security consultant. Meanwhile, the European Union is warning of an imminent risk to Ghana's democracy owing to the rising cases of violent extremism in the Sahel and coup d'etats.
Africa. It's a situation where there are very significant security challenges, but of course these security challenges are closely related to other dynamics, development dynamics or lack of development dynamics. So many factors converge and there are no simple solutions.
And what do you have to say about coastal West Africa? Would you say that relatively stable democracies such as Ghana are at risk of facing extremism?
The nature of the political regime in West Africa, whether democracies or non-democracies, nobody is protected. Nobody is safe from the circles of the waves of insecurity that we see in the region.
Let's touch on the meeting you had with Ghana's Foreign Minister, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa. You've been engaging him. What has come out from such a conversation, high level, of course, dealing and looking at issues of extremism and other security concerns within the SAP region?
Well, yes, indeed. I've had the opportunity for a very useful, productive, interesting meeting with Foreign Minister Ablakwa. And over the last months, I've also had numerous engagements with your special envoy, the Ghanaian special envoy, Larry Larty, and indeed have met Foreign Minister Ablakwa on previous occasions.
Nigeria's Vice President Kasim Shettima has expressed optimism in an African solution towards solving African security challenges. He wants Europe to partner with Africa to develop homegrown solutions to socio-economic challenges in West Africa. He spoke with Blessed Soga on the sidelines of the just ended European Union and African Union summit in Angola.
There is a need for the EU to widen its perspective and have robust engagements with Africa on a pedestal of mutual trust and confidence. We are not beggars. We want to deal with EU on a pedestal of mutual interest, respect.
In terms of peace and security, how are you collaborating with the EU to tackle issues of terrorism?
Well, EU is our wonderful partner on the issue of combating illegal migration, terrorism, and banditry in the Sahelian zone. But mind you, there's an incestuous relationship between economy and ecology in the Sahelian zone. And we need kinetic and non-kinetic solutions to the challenges. And I believe EU as a continent that has engaged with Africa for over 500 years understands our challenges, understands our problems, and collectively we are going to marshal resources towards addressing those challenges.
Ghana's proposed 100 cedis airport charge in the 2026 budget intended to fund a major upgrade to the country's airport has come under scrutiny from the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, which is asking Finance Minister Kasiela Forson to review the levy as it may violate the regional common policy on aviation charges, taxes and fees adopted by member states in 2024. The policy, which takes effect in January 2026, Ghana and other ECOWAS countries are required to abolish 4 existing aviation-related taxes as part of efforts to harmonize charges across the sub-region and reduce the cost of air travel. ECOWAS says introducing a new airport charge at this time runs counter to that framework and could undermine regional integration in the aviation sector. Now, let's take a closer look at portions of the Supplementary Act at the center of the controversy on your screens now. The modalities of application for taxes on aviation. Now, within 12 months after the entry into force of the Supplementary Act, each member state shall abolish 4 taxes in the aviation sector in ECOWAS region, namely ticket tax, tourism tax, solidarity tax, and foreign travel tax. Those are the 4 ones that have been recommended to remove. Also, within 12 months after the entry into force of the Supplementary Act, each member state shall apply 25% reduction of 2 charges in the aviation sector in ECOWAS region, namely passenger service charge and security charge as well. Well, that's except of the part of it, but we shall be bringing you more on this. Now, joining me is Chris Appiah, Director of Transport, ECOWAS. Thank you so much for joining me. And so how difficult or is it or easy will it be for ECOWAS to compel Ghana to not to enforce this 100 Ghana cedis charge that will take effect next year?
Thank you very much and good afternoon. Thanks for this opportunity. So just to clarify, ECOWAS is only the secretariat. The ECOWAS Commission is the secretariat to the member states of ECOWAS for which Ghana is a member. I think the issue should be how do we get member states to implement, decisions that they've taken themselves. This is not an, so to speak, ECOWAS, external decision by ECOWAS. It's the member states themselves who took this, and it was signed at the highest level by the heads of states. So we are doing a lot to make sure that all member states are aware of those commitments they've made too. And I'm happy you are sharing some of these to your viewers. Now, the main thing is that the heads of state decided that from 1st January 2026, and that is why they gave the 12-month moratorium. From 1st January 2026, all member states of ECOWAS should apply the two key decisions, that is removal of the 4 taxes and reduction of the charges, which involves the passenger service charge and the tourism charge, as you showed. So we are working with the countries to make sure this is applied.
How do we find a balance between a country's sovereignty, especially they say they must raise funds, and if you look at the amount that they are hoping to charge particularly, and I see that, of course, you're encouraging countries that are member states to adhere to policies that they themselves have proposed. But for this 100 Ghana cedis charge, they give a reason that they want to use it to upgrade or, take care of issues concerning our airports. How do we draw a balance between a country's sovereignty and what they can do, and while it sits in the bigger framework of the ECOWAS policies?
Good. So permit me to lay a small context to this. The ECOWAS Commission, together with our member states and other partners on the African continent, have monitored our air transport industry for the past 7 to 10 years.
Okay.
As we speak, the ECOWAS Commission has come up, the ECOWAS community has come up as the most expensive. And the key contributors to this high cost of air transport in the ECOWAS region are the passenger service charge, security charges, and those 4 others that the heads of states have said, let's remove them.
Okay.
Now, if we do a small comparative analysis, the ECOWAS region charges over 100% more than any other region on the continent when it comes to passenger service charge. In terms of government taxes on air transport, the ECOWAS region charges almost 50%, 47.9% more than over the African average. So you see, the issue is that all these charges has made our air transport sector or services the most expensive on the continent. So when we look at all the indicators to show performance of the sector, the ECOWAS region, for which Ghana is a key, member, is not doing well. And for that matter, it's affecting passenger throughput and also affecting revenue being generated by Ghana and other member states to do the same things that we think we are taxing to do.
Okay.
So that's the context, exactly. So it's not even a matter of they adding new taxes. Already, we are the most taxed. And let me quickly add that when it comes to the passenger service charge, Ghana and Nigeria are already among the highest charging in the region. Ghana is doing around $100, $101 per ticket for international travels for each passenger, right? So already the sector is overburdened with taxation. And for that matter, we are not performing well. And where ECOWAS comes in is it affects the regional integration agenda that Ghana and other ECOWAS member states are pursuing.
Right.
Because regional integration rides on connectivity and free movement of persons, trade, and all that. Now, if it's so expensive that the citizens of the community are not able to even afford the movement, then it becomes, negative to the agenda of regional integration that we so seek to benefit from the over 400 million population that we have as a region.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chris Appiah, for joining us and throwing more light on this. Away from that, lawyers for opposition New Patriotic Party's Ashanti Regional Chairman Bernard Entriboisiaku, popularly known as Chairman Wontumi, say they will file a motion on Monday asking the court to compel prosecution to release witness information and related materials. This is after prosecution failed to provide key documents required by the defense for the trial to proceed. Chairman Wontumi's legal team insists they must scrutinize the new witness statements before the trial can continue. Andy Appiah is lead counsel for Chairman Wontumi.
At the last agenda, there was indication that prosecution wanted to file further documents. So we inquired whether such documents have been filed. Unfortunately, we have not been served with such documents. Prosecution indicated that it does not intend to file any further documents, and therefore they were ready for case management. It is also our expectation that they will have filed some documents that we will rely on, which documents have not been filed, but which we believe such documents are within the possession of the prosecution. So we pray the court that we will come in with a motion, praying the court for an order directed at the prosecution to serve us the documents that we need. When they serve us those documents, we will rely on them. When they are not able to serve us those documents, there will be a presumption of the non-existence of those documents. And therefore, nobody can quote or rely on such documents. So we have been given up to Monday to file our motion. And the return date for the motion is the 8th of December. We'll come and move the motion for the orders of the court directed at prosecution. And when we are so served, then we will include same as part of our documents to rely on.
Let's go to Parliament next. Speaker Alban Bagbene is expected to rule on the status of Member of Parliament for Kwandai, Matthew Nyindam, on Monday. A Tamale High Court annulled his election, upholding the National Democratic Congress challenge to his election. On Wednesday, Matthew Nyindam, who the minority insists is still an MP, attempted to debate the 2026 budget, which was rejected by the NDC side. Parliament is now looking at the Speaker to make a final ruling on the matter. Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante joins us from the House with more on this. Kweku, have you been, and tell me, have you had any confirmation as to when the Speaker will make a determination? And have you cited Matthew Nyindam at all in the House today?
Yet to begin. It was expected to start around 12 o'clock. A number of MPs are now walking in to the chamber. And given that this is a very important matter, indication is that perhaps will be the first order of business for the Speaker of Parliament to give an indication. Because Matthew Nyindam will be in the chamber. And as we know, from the minority leader speaking yesterday, he says they consider that Matthew Nyindam is still a member of Parliament. And so they expect that he will be in the chamber of Parliament. He will come and do business. He will do everything. And so it behoves on the Speaker of Parliament to give a clear guideline, a clear ruling as to where he's head on the challenge that has been filed by the minority yesterday, actually insisting that Matthew Nyindam ought to be taken from the House. And in fact, I guess it's some indication that should proceedings begin, and there is no mention by the Speaker of Parliament or any of the leadership to bring this matter up, some minority MPs will stand up and majority MPs will raise this matter and draw the attention of the Speaker of Parliament that this is a very important constitutional matter, that a High Court having given ruling annulling the election of a Member of Parliament, that MP cannot continue to sit in the chamber and do business. And so they would want the Speaker of Parliament to speak categorically to that. And so while the Speaker of Parliament hasn't given that indication, in fact, yesterday, the entire proceedings of the House was brought to an abrupt halt when the Speaker of Parliament indicated that the discussion should be frozen and that he will come today and give the ruling. And so when he comes, we expect that ruling to happen. So that is on the score of the Speaker. When it comes to Matthew Nyindam, like I mentioned earlier on, both he and the minority leadership are adamant that because he has filed a notice of appeal and also filed an application for stay of the judgment of the High Court, they say that all of the proceedings from the High Court is currently on hold, and the MP continues to be an MP until the High Court determines the application he has made. MFA.
Thank you so much, Kweku. And definitely it will not be just Parliament looking to the Speaker. The whole of the country will be. Thank you, Kweku. Let's go to Kumasi now, where the countdown is over. The biggest housing fair in the Ashanti region, the Republic Bank Love FM Habitat Fair, is today assembling the best of Ghana's built environment and expects in home ownership to provide you with all your housing needs at a convenient and affordable price from an array of home accessories, mortgage banking, litigation, free loans, amongst others. Exhibitors are offering exciting discounts of up to 50% during the 4-day event. Let's go live to the Kumasi city, where my colleague Emmanuel Bright-Kiku joins us live with the latest. Emmanuel, tell me, how's it going so far over there? Unfortunately, the network is not our friend this afternoon, but we'll try and reconnect with Emmanuel and bring you the latest from that Republic Bank Love FM Habitat Fair. But let me try again. Emmanuel, if you can hear me, how is it at the Kumasi City Mall? Okay, you're watching News Today. Please stay. We'll bring you more after this. News Today, and the countdown is over. The biggest housing fair in the Ashanti region, the Republic Bank Love FM Habitat Fair, is today assembling the best of Ghana's built environment and experts in home ownership to provide you with all your housing needs at a convenient and affordable price from an array of home accessories, mortgage banking, litigation, free loans, amongst others. Exhibitors are offering exciting discounts up to 50% during the 4-day event. Let's take you live to Kumasi City, where my colleague Emmanuel Bright-Kiku is there and bringing us an update. Emmanuel, what's happening?
From the forecourts of the Kumasi City Mall, and that's where the Republic Bank Love FM Habitat Fair is currently happening. And in fact, we're having a lot of the shops here, stationed here. You're talking about your building construction companies, you're talking about interior designs, whatever you need for your home, this is the place to be. It is the Republic Bank Love FM Habitat Fair that is happening. And so a lot of the stores are setting up already. They are eager and hoping that the patrons will come around and shop whatever they need at discounted prices. Some of them are offering up to a 50% discount here at the Republic Bank Love FM Habitat Fair. Your land litigation free offers are also available. If you need assistance for your meter installation, the ECG is also here for all that you need for your home. We're talking about even the Ghana Water Company. You know, it's a bit of an issue when it comes to accessing water in various homes. So everything that you need for your home, this is the place to be. It is the Republic Bank Love FM Habitat Fair. And in fact, we will quickly interact with the headline sponsor for this year's Republic Bank Love FM Habitat Fair. I'm talking about Republic Bank, and I'm being joined by Daniel Mohenu. He's the head of mortgage banking at Republic Bank. Daniel, thank you for joining us on JoyNews.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, sure. I know it's an exciting day for all of us here, in fact, even for the patrons and yourself. What is your expectation, before we go deeper into the mortgage bank, what's your expectation for this year's Republic Bank Habitat Fair?
Thank you very much. My expectation is that we have quite a number of people, so many people coming to the fair. This year's fair looks a bit different. I see different names in terms of companies and those who are displaying their wares. And so it's going to be an exciting one. That's one for sure. I promise that it's going to be an exciting one. And then I believe each person who comes around will definitely get something to take back home. Okay. Yeah.
Now let's look at Republic Bank. Somebody always wants to know, we are always campaigning or making noise about mortgage banking. Tell us a bit about what mortgage banking is. Why is there a need for somebody to go in for a mortgage?
Well, mortgage is basically granting a facility towards the acquisition of a home. All right. So at Republic Bank, that is our core business. So we finance individuals to purchase a home, to build their own house, take an equity to do business or do an investment. And then for those who have built to lentil and they want to complete, we also have packages for them. So it's as though every individual, no matter where you stand in life, you should be able to qualify for a mortgage from Republic Bank. And this is so important because most of the time people like to buy properties with cash. And sometimes, especially the businessmen, they'll take money out of their business, buy the property in cash, and then along the line, the business suffers in terms of investment. So this affords you an opportunity to take a loan spread over 10 to 20 years or 5 years, depending on how you want it, so that that money, that bulk sum, you can plow it back into your business, generate enough repayment, generate enough money to repay your facility.
Okay, now I know Republic Bank, normally you have a lot of packages talking about home equity and mortgage. We want you to give us the packages you are bringing here.
We are bringing all our packages. Okay. So from the home purchase, buying a fresh home, to home completion, completing a house that you have already started. We are bringing on board our land mortgages for those who want to purchase lands just for an investment, for those who want to build on their lands and already purchased lands. We are bringing that also on board. We have the home equity that gives you funds or equity release out of an existing property that you have. You know, when you've built, you've actually invested money into the property. So we are giving you cash out of it so that you can use it to do an investment. And then we have those who are building from scratch. So they have the bare land they want to build, or they are buying the land using our mortgage, and then at a point in time they want to also build their own facility. Then executives are also not left out. For executives of companies, directors, businessmen, informal, formal sector, employees, everybody. So we have all our packages lined up to be able to...
In fact...
And so if you're in the Ashanti region, of course, you know where to be. Kumasi, the Republic Bank Love FM Habitat Fair is happening. You don't want to miss out on that. You're watching News Today. Benaya comes up with sports.
And in sports, government has set up a ministerial committee to oversee Ghana's preparations for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. During the official launch at the presidency yesterday, Chief of Staff Julius Debra and Sports Minister Kofi Adams emphasized how important the tournament is for the nation.
I think your committee needs to have that oversight responsibility in making sure that Ghana's name is not brought into disrepute, even though we want as many fans as possible to be able to travel. And of course, visa facilitation is also very important. Just last Saturday, I was privileged to attend a program with the Chargé d'Affaires of the American Embassy at the Ghana American Chamber of Commerce. And then he said they are going to ensure that as many Ghanaians as possible are able to attend to lend support to our national team. And I thought it was a good statement that we need to follow up. And we expect your committee to make time and follow up with the appropriate officials at the American Embassy to make sure that Ghanaians are given the opportunity to go and cheer up their team. It's also an opportunity for us to sell some of our investment potentials to the world. So not necessarily only looking at football, what are some of the things that we can associate with our presence there to let people beware that in our country we also have the opportunity to, as an investment destination for potential investors to take advantage of.
At the last meeting in Cabinet, a decision was made that a team of this nature be constituted and be inaugurated to see to the general planning of activities, coordinating what must be done, the necessary committees from technical to all the rest, who is doing what, so we would all be understanding each other so that there will be no silo operations very well, so that experiences of the past, positive and negative, will guide us into the future, so that we will not only go to partake in the in just the kicking of the ball. But by the time the whole process ends, Ghana will be the biggest of the winners. The World Cup will be an interesting place. We will go there and make Ghana and Africa proud, so that when we make a stake to host in future, we will be considered because we played that good role. So thank you for coming, and God bless us all. Thank you.
And to some Ghana Premier League football now, where Kumasi and Sante Kotoko recorded their first loss of the season after falling 2-1 to Baseke Holy Stars yesterday. A late goal from Prince Trineboa gave the Porcupines their first setback. After the match, head coach Karim Zito said the defeat was largely due to his players' poor finishing.
Seriously, we should have won this game. Once again, we squandered the chances, and you took your chances. So, to me, we shouldn't have lost this game, but it's part of the game, so it is okay.
Let's see the way for Kotoko now, coach.
The way for every club, we all want to win the league. It's not only Kotoko. If the way you play here, the way you are playing every club, there wouldn't be last. So Kotoko, everybody wants to beat Kotoko. That is the magnetic of the issue. But we didn't play badly. We played good football, and we created chances. But putting the ball into the net was another, once again, the problem. But so far so good. We are playing the league.
Coach, your next assurance for the supporters were expecting nice or...
This is football. This is football.
What do you have for?
This is football. We are playing the league. You will beat, they will beat you, you will draw. So we are still chasing. We have 20. The one leading is having 23. So it's only one match. And we are playing at home on Sunday. So it's good.
And that's our wrap up the sports segment. Up next is Showbiz with Chola Adeyemi.
Thank you for staying. I am Lois Shola Adeyemi. Let me take you into the world of entertainment, where I bring you all the news happening in there. Now to my first story, King Charles III, who turned 77 on November 14th, was celebrated at the British Embassy in Accra on November 25th. Now the theme was Playlist Ghana Meets UK, and the event honored his love for Ghanaian music alongside his favorite British tracks. Ministers, dignitaries, and music lovers gathered for a night of rhythm, culture, and merriment.
Hosted by British High Commissioner Christian Rourke, the celebration brought together officials and music lovers for a night of culture and joy. Guests danced and enjoyed performances, showing their admiration for the king and Guinean music. High Commissioner Rourke spoke about his 20 years in Ghana, praising the country's growth in economy, culture and society. He also shared plans for future UK-Ghana collaborations in trade, music and culture, highlighting the strong friendship between the nations.
The last 2 decades, I've then started watching Ghana from afar, and I've seen how Ghana prospered while staying true to its values and its roots. We're strengthening the trade and investment linkages between our nations. We're working closely with Ghana and its security services to maintain its status as an island of stability. We're looking forward to Ghana winning many medals at the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow. And if luck has it, the Black Stars will meet England or Scotland or possibly Wales and Northern Ireland in the finals of the World Cup next year.
Elizabeth Ofuswe-Jare, Member of Parliament, praised the Ghana-UK partnership, highlighting cooperation in trade, education and security, and welcomed continued support for peace and development.
Over the years, our partnership has been marked by meaningful collaboration in areas such as trade, investment, education and security. The UK's support for Ghana's economic stability and its engagement with our security institutions have contributed significantly to our national developmental goals. We also welcome the United Kingdom's active participation in regional and multinational efforts that promote peace, stability, and sustainable growth.
The event showcased King Charles III's personal playlist, blending British hits with Ghanaian songs. It was a night of music, culture, and shared joy. As the event ended, guests reflected on growth, friendship, and the power of music to unite.
3, 2.
Well, moving away from that story, there was a time when nights in Ghana felt almost sacred. Families left whatever they were doing, gathered around a single glowing screen, and waited for stories that felt like they were written just for us. This Throwback Thursday, we journey back to the world of Osofo-Dadzi and Obra, timeless dramas that didn't just entertain, but shaped our values, our humor, and heartbeat of early Ghanaian lives.
In the 1970s, when television was still new in Ghana, one show stood out, Osofo-Dadzi. It's a blend of comedy, moral lessons, and relatable characters that made Sunday nights a ritual for households across the country. Led by superstars like Asunaba Kweku Dakun, SK Opon, and Fred Adai, Osofo-Dadzi used satire to tackle real issues from family disagreement to corruption, discipline, and community life. By the 1980s, a new drama swept the nation, Obra. It brought even stronger storytelling with everyday Ghanaian struggles at the center.
I won't go.
Led by household names like Grace Omabo, David Donto, and the unforgettable Mohamed Dokno, Obra became more than a show. It became a mirror reflecting the hopes, failures, and resilience of Ghanaian families. These shows didn't have big budgets or fancy equipment. What they had was heart, powerful writing, strong performances, and stories rooted in Ghanaian identity. From their simple sets to their unforgettable catchphrases, Osofo-Dadzi and Obra paved the way for everything that followed, from Taxi Driver to Home Sweet Home and today's digital era skits. Decades later, these classics still live in memory, a reminder of a time when Ghana watched TV not just for entertainment, but for lessons, laughter, and community.
Well, and that's how we end showbiz. I am Loishola Ademi. Today I don't have questions for you. I was just going to ask you which one you loved, but
thank you. But thank you for watching the news as well. We'll do this tomorrow. Have a good one. Thank you for watching.